from Chicago and the Philippines. A comprehensive review of the week's special community events, featuring many exciting personalities, handled by the most professional Chicago Philippine Reports TV staff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chicago Philippine Reports TV, still the #1 in all the Filipino shows in the Midwest. And I'm Joe Mauricio. Today we have all the top stories from Chicago and the Philippines. We also have our segment host, Veronica, interesting interviews with Melody Rabor Dizon, our Health Matters host, and Joe Mauricio, myself. And I would like to introduce to you Janet Jordy, our new host from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, introducing her Global Inspirations interviews. We also have happening within our own Filipino community here in Chicago. All these are coming up and more from our sponsors. Please stay with us.
The three major U.S. networks making the headlines for cutting away from the live broadcast of President Donald Trump's news conference. Anchors of U.S. networks ABC, CBS, and NBC broke in, immediately conducting a fact check after Trump made baseless accusations about vote fraud. Veteran Filipino media scholars laud the move.
Finally, they're doing it. They should have done it a long time ago, probably. That's very inspiring for journalists, especially. And for audiences too, I think, because audiences will have an idea instantly of how credible or incredible something being offered to them through the media.
I would probably strengthen that more by getting an election watchdog. They could put those resource persons on standby to give you the facts instead of overburdening the news anchor.
Santos, however, believes the commentary can be done by the anchors themselves. He also stresses the importance of challenging news sources who are making false and baseless assertions unsupported by evidence. But Santos admits it is not easy to lay down a hard and fast rule in such an instance, especially in live situations.
They should be called out. At the very moment that something questionable or incredible is raised, the interviewee should be challenged.
For Lambino and Santos, Philippine media can learn from this incident.
I hate to say this, Ron, but the Philippine news media is timid. We seldom fact check the president when he comes out live. But to be fair, there have been many instances when those who have faithfully pursued their role as purveyors of truth have been harassed and intimidated. But the news media should not be cowed.
I mean, there should be a running explanation or commentary for the benefit of audiences, so that audiences might understand better or be reminded what promises are like by this president. I mean, to me, I think it's something very basic. Yeah. Or in any case, if you are unable to do that right at that moment, at some immediate moment after that, I mean, a discussion should be mounted to sort these things out.
Erwin Ortañez is the Border Control and Intelligence Unit head of the Bureau of Immigration. He is being linked to the bribery scheme involving Chinese nationals arriving in the airport. But he denies this, including allegations that they plan to fix the investigation.
Sila po yung nakipag-areglo, hindi po. Hindi kayo kasama doon? Hindi po, kaya sila yung napahamak.
The immigration terminal head and one of his immigration officers also denied allegations they tried to smooth things over.
Totoo nga po ba, did you try to talk about, yun nga, aregluhin yung kaso? Wala pong ganun, wala po. Walang ganun? Wala po. Anong nangyari dun, sir? Kasi in-identify po kayo ng isang witness. Oo, pero wala naman nangyaring ganun.
Immigration officer turned whistleblower Dale Ignacio rejects the denial, claiming that immigration officials even discussed how they will handle the investigation.
Napag-usapan din dun sa meeting na yun nga, wala daw iwanan kung paano nagsimula, ganun din magtatapos. Kapag may isa sa amin na nag-corroborate with dun sa statement ni Chong, dun na daw magkakaroon ng problema.
In the meantime, the NBI Special Action Unit recommended to the Ombudsman the filing of corruption charges against 86 immigration officials and employees. They also recommended their suspension.
Gaya nga nung laging justification kaya nagsususpend preventively para nga po daw hindi maka-impluwensya no, sa patakbo ng kaso.
Aside from bribery, they are also being investigated for hidden wealth.
Via Times, vital news, vibrant views for the Filipino Asian communities in Chicago. Via Times for your most interesting and exciting reading and your party coverages. Via Time has very interesting columnists. You name it, Via Times has it. Law, Filipino news, dentistry, immigration, humor, serious opinions, health, beauty, mysticism, Bata Corner, showbiz, and intelligently written editorials. Call Via Times at 773-866-0811.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to Veronica's segment of the show. Today, I have a very interesting and very pretty lady from Filipina too, from California, and Daly City, California, and she is a very popular lady because she received our Chicago Filipino Asian American Hall of Fame Award for the title of Empowered Woman. The first time we gave that award to a Filipina, and she really deserves it. And this time, Miss Lisa Hino or Gino is here with us today because of another title. She is now the author of a book entitled Imelda's Secret. Am I right, Lisa? Welcome to our show.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Veronica Layton, for having me here today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's our honor. It's our honor to have an awardee, Hall of Fame awardee, to be a respected author now of a book. And this book might really be in the films too, from what I heard. Congratulations. And your first book, our first novel, I know. And can you please, Lisa, tell us about Imelda's Secret?
Thank you so much again for having me. This is the book. See, this is the book that Imelda's Secret. And I wrote this. It's been a long while in writing it. And it's a book about two Filipinas who were abducted and taken into custody by the Japanese military, and they were forced into sexual slavery. And it talks about how they survived the ordeal and how 40 years later, they're still struggling, and that the deep-seated trauma and secrecy, so it talks about the whole dynamics and how the women had to really reach deep in them and try to advocate and empower themselves.
And these women that you're referring to, or the focal point of your book, is known, they're known as the comfort women. They're more popularly known as the comfort women. And in our modern lingo these days, are they the one you can refer to as victims of human trafficking?
Yes, human trafficking is still happening, and that's what that's usually referred to as the Underground Railroad. And so the book really hopes to awaken people and women particularly to fight for themselves and, stop all the injustices that's happening.
And so what inspired you to write this book?
Well, from the stories told to me by my relatives, how my grandmother, who was very, very fair, had to roll around in the mud until the mud was like deep into her hair follicles, just so that she can disguise herself and so not to be attractive to the soldiers that were walking around, and until they were able to flee to Taal. And stories about how my mom and her siblings were had to stay hidden in the dirty kitchen while my grandfather checked on the neighbor's house that was being stormed by the Japanese military army. So that's all in the first chapter alone. It talks about the experiences of my own family and how they survived.
So mainly you remember your childhood memories of your fathers or your grandfathers' tales about what they did for the women, for our Filipino women, most of all members of this family, to be safe from the enemies, right?
Yes. Yes, they had to, my mother used to complain. She said that when they had to flee to Taal, they had to forage for their food. And at one point, she just didn't want to eat anymore because she got tired of eating talbos ng kamote.
Kamote.
Yeah.
The kamote and the corn and the maize. I bet. And okay, those are the traumatic experiences of many Filipino families during the World War II. And Lisa, so how long did it take you to write this book?
Oh, I started writing this book 15 years ago. But because of everything that happened since, like the International Women's March in 2016, people like Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and all the movement that helped women, the Me Too movement, and all that, it encouraged me and actually pushed me and said that this is the time to write this book, because this is a time when women can have a voice and can stand up for themselves.
What do you really want to accomplish for writing this book?
I would like to accomplish many things, one of which is to create awareness about the comfort. The comfort women as of now in the Philippines only exist in oral history. There's nothing written down, it's not in the textbook. And we need to know this, and our future generations need to know this so that they know what to guard against, so we can stop this from ever happening again. And of course, I want to empower women, and I want to advocate for women, and I want all of us to be able to join together and move forward and upward.
Okay, I like that. I'm really intrigued by the title of the book, Imelda's Secret. Is there something that you remember about our popular First Lady, internationally renowned Imelda Marcos, about this book? Imelda's Secret.
Well, the book is entitled Imelda's Secret because one of the characters, Imelda McKenna, is one of the comfort women. This is not about Imelda Marcos. And as you see here in the cover, this is the Imelda of the 1980s, and she's firm, strong and elegant. Yet if you tear off half of the picture, it'll reveal the Imelda of the 1940s, the comfort woman, the one that was abused, tortured, and all that. And then I used the banig as a background, and this is a recurring feature in my book because the banig represents the mattress. in the Philippines, we don't really have mattresses at that time, and we use the banig. And the banig is considered the silent witness of all of the war atrocities that had happened against all the crimes against women.
Interesting. I really like the illustration on your cover. And did you use some very famous artists for the cover of this book?
Yes, I did. So this is the front cover, and this is the back cover. Now, this one is a mosaic done by my very dear good friend, Maria Isabel Lopez. You know, Maria Isabel Lopez and I were both winners at the Binibining Pilipinas contest. She was Miss Universe and I was her runner-up. Now, the good thing about the reason why I chose her work is because it's a woman, it's a nude, right? So it's Imelda carrying the truth, the naked truth. That's what she has. That's all she has, is the naked truth. And the mosaic represents the stones that were hurled at her. You know, comfort women are similar to those that you call a stoned woman. You know, the women that are being stoned for ignorance, taboo, and all that stuff. So now the stones, all the insults, the scrutiny that was hurled at Imelda and all the comfort women are now jewels that she carry proudly on her back.
Do you know any surviving comfort women somehow
Well,
alive?
launch, because I've been I've been closely conversing with Sharon at the Lila Pilipina, ang mga bahay ng mga lola in the Philippines. And I've seen some of the lolas. I believe there used to be 12 and now there are only 10. We lost 2 of them last month. And 2 of them, Lola Estelita and Lola Narcisa, will be a guest at my book launch on November 20.
Your book launch on November 20. Can you please tell our viewing audience about the book launch? What's happening there?
Thank you. It'll be a virtual book launch. And at that book launch, I will be there with a panel of artists and writers. So the Comfort Women of Justice Coalition will be there because they wrote the preface and the foreword, and there will also be a psychologist there, and she will talk about the effects on the mental health of such trauma. And of course, I'll also have a panel of artists, like the one who did the cover of the book, both Anjali and Maria Isabel Lopez.
Great, terrific. Where can we get your book?
You can pick up the book at imeldasecret.com, and from there you can also put there what you want me to write. I could, in the notes, you can specify what kind of dedication you want, and I will autograph every book ordered from imeldasecret.com. And you can also pick up the e-Kindle version at amazon.com.
And you have a hard copy and a soft copy available, or what?
For now, I'm just going to have the paperback, but I do plan to come up with the hard copy and the audiobook sometime around the holidays.
How many pages did you say?
I believe this is 208 pages.
Ooh, wow, congratulations. Congratulations to this new author, beautiful woman and empowered woman at the same time. And one last word, we're running out of time, Lisa.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to show you what Imelda's Secret is all about. And I hope that it brings awareness and sparks a feeling of empowerment and advocacy for everyone, not just women.
Terrific. I'm really very proud of you, Lisa, and Miss Lisa Gino. And she has proven herself to be a really good author. And will there be a sequel to this book?
Probably we'll see. But I also have other novels in the queue. So we'll see which one I would go for.
Great, terrific. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat sa iyo at maraming salamat din po sa inyong panonood. Ako po si Veronica. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Objectively the Portion of the show. I'm Joe Mauricio. And this afternoon, I have a very good-looking senor from New York, and no other than Mr. H. H. What's HH stands for?
Well, it's my two names, my name Harold and my nickname Hans. So HH German.
German. In Espanol, Herman.
En español, Herman.
Okay, now let's talk about your background. Being a boxer and all that kind of thing. What shaped your interest from boxing to publishing?
Well, boxing is something that I did as an amateur in my teens and 20s. I'm from the Bronx, so that was a bit of a bumpy ride. So boxing was something you had to learn growing up in the Bronx. And I grew up in the North Bronx, so it was an Italian neighborhood. And as a Dominican, it was an interesting time, but ultimately...
Yogi Berra is from there?
Yogi Berra.
Bronx?
Listen,
talking about aging,
The Bronx is a wonderful place, and I love it. And I'm so fortunate to have come from the Bronx and just wonderful people from different cultures, and very fortunate to have had that experience. Yeah,
I love the Bronx because I was a New York Yankee fan before we moved to Chicago from Oklahoma, and I remember the catcher is Yogi Berra. You had Whitey Ford,
right?
You got Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle. Well, Mickey Mantle is from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, so I'm familiar with Mickey Mantle.
And a lot of very talented people out there in Oklahoma.
Even Tony Kubek, oh my God, Richardson. Oh my goodness, I will bring back memories. You probably don't know that these people exist.
When I was a boy, I had lots of different baseball cards, and I also had a baseball card book that allowed you to place stickers in the book. And I remember that I would collect the active year. So every year they would come out, and I'd fill up the book with a lot of my Yankees stickers, all the players. And I had baseball cards back in the 70s. And all the players you're talking about, I had their baseball cards. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, even though I was a kid in the 80s, I would collect, the baseball players from the 70s and 80s and 60s and whatnot. So I loved it.
Being a boxer and a publisher, you're also animal rights.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the key, right? So animal rights is a passion of mine. Growing up in the Bronx is we're talking about, and frankly, any tough place, you're gonna encounter bullies, right? And I think the biggest bullies are the ones that pick on the weakest among us. And unequivocally, our pets and animals are the weakest, the smallest. And for someone to injure animals, it's just it's enormously angering to me. And that builds up a certain passion within me. And boxing is one of those things that, as you know, it builds up discipline, and it allows you to hone your skill and also your anger, and all of the intellectual physicality that you have in a very acute manner. And this is the thing I think that a lot of people don't understand about boxing. It's not just about hitting things. It's about releasing energy in a very, very focused, acute way. And once you're able to channel energy efficiently, you're able to do a wonderful thing for yourself. And, I think people also get the same thing when it comes to running. Any of the basic primal of endeavors, running, fighting. It's a wonderful channel.
Yeah.
And when you have a buildup of, in my case, anger against people who bully, you find different outlets. For me, it was boxing. It's always been boxing, but I'm also a creative individual. I attended School of Visual Arts in New York, and I received a wonderful arts background, arts education. So I have an arts background, and I always had it in my heart to put out into the world this creative work that's centered around illustrating and communicating a story behind attacking bullies. So that's what Calico is about, is attacking the bullies, and Calico does a really good job at that, and I'm really excited to get that out there.
That's how Calico was born in concept, more or less.
That's right. That's exactly right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So how is Calico doing now?
Right. So Calico we're just wrapping up the first issue. So Calico will be an 8-issue series, right? So comic books, typically when they start out with, a 4 to typically 8 or 10 issue series. And so this is Calico's first series, and we're just wrapping up the first issue. We expect it to come out by Christmas, so right in time for the holidays.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yep. So great stocking stuffer. So, and I think speaking as someone who is very passionate about animals, in this country, we live in this great place where a lot of people consider their pets, their family. And it's a beautiful thing, because that's exactly what we need to do. We need to support and cultivate animal rights and animal cultivation in this country. Too many times and in too many places around the world, animals just simply are mistreated, and it's because we can do this. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should do it. Clearly, abusing animals is a terrible thing. And if we're evolving as a species to be more intelligent, more compassionate, more civil, then certainly we need to extend that understanding into how we treat animals. We need to be supporting them. We need to be cultivating their existence here on this planet, because we have a symbiotic relationship with everything here. And we can't just start making ourselves extinct. That's not how we're supposed to coexist in this planet, by killing off and abusing others. So that's at the heart of our company, is justice for all. If you look at our website, it says Sigma Comics, Justice for All. And that's what we're about.
Okay, can you explain what a comics gate is?
Right, Comics Gate. So this is interesting. This is, let me just give you a little background to Joe before I answer that question, because the last time I had picked up a comic book, you're going to find this interesting. It had to be 1993, around that. So I had just gotten to college, and I used to read comic books, and comic books to me were key for my American experience. And this is going to resonate with you, because you mentioned your time in Oklahoma. I'm not sure how it was for you, but for me, my family had already assimilated in the Bronx. Okay, so I was born in the Bronx and partly raised there. And comic books, I couldn't even speak English, even though I was born here. My folks spoke Spanish in the home, and it was either Sesame Street or comic books. And the kids in my neighborhood, a lot of them actually only spoke Italian. So my second language is actually Italian. So comic books for me were seminal to my American experience and story. So it's something very passionate to me. But once I hit about 18, 19, and I got into college, I just stopped reading them because I was busy with other things. And there's a maturity element that comes up that you hear about, but in terms of comic books, at least, of course. But when I started, I had always had this idea to write Calico as a novel. Okay, so back in 2016, so this is 4 years ago, I started writing the outline for Calico. Okay, Calico is supposed to be a fiction novel. okay, about a guy who's very passionate about animal rights. And, life got in the way and I got pretty busy. The pandemic hit this year, and one of my friends got published by one of the big publishing companies, a book that she just came out with. So that sort of got me thinking, like, hey, I should get Calico off the shelf and start, writing that again. And let me tell you, Joe, a week into writing the outline for Calico, I said, this is really more like a comic book, okay? But what that meant is I got back into comics. So I had to start buying them and reading them and see how sort of the current format was, because I hadn't picked up a comic book in like 26 years. It's 1993, okay? So now I'm picking up comic books in 2020, going to comic shops, and I noticed a big difference in the quality of the storytelling, okay? And it was a bit troubling. So I went online just to sort of kick around some ideas and hear what other people were saying. And I came across this thing called Comicsgate. Comicsgate is a movement from people that, very passionate about comic books. They've read comic books all their lives, and they're taking issue with the deteriorating quality of the comic books. Okay, this is very important. Some of what they're saying is, and this is why it's very controversial. Some of what they're saying is that there's an issue with quality relative to having characters that have been historically of one background, and then you have completely different backgrounds being written into the storylines. So it's, some of it has to do with diversity, which obviously, we support diversity. Social justice is in the name of our company. The problem is when you have storylines that have been intact for many, many years that have a following, and then you have people who have an issue with the way the stories are being changed. So it's not just a diverse issue, it's a quality issue. So while we support the need for diversity in comic books, absolutely. We need all sorts of different people participating in comic books. What we don't support is impacting the quality of creativity. So the Comicsgate people have in my opinion, they have a valid issue, because it's both a quality issue and it's also a social issue. And somehow the industry has to figure out a way to get this thing right. Folks, comic books are not easy to find anymore, and you can find it. You can find a really good one at sigmacomics.com. And we have a great comic book, and the star is Calico. We feature Calico, and he's somebody who's going to take care of all animals out there. He's going to do things to people who hurt them, and it's going to be all in the name of justice. So we hope that you can support us, because it's a really wonderful cause. So
well said, well said, Herman. Well said. And I want to wish everybody, Herman, good luck.
Thank you, Joe. Likewise.
Thank you for sharing your Sunday with us, and I hope to see you again next week. Ako po si Joe Mauricio. Mabuhay!
It's more fun in the Philippines.
This is Janet Jordy at Global Inspiration, where you need to be seen, need to be heard, and be an inspiration to the world. I am so excited to introduce our guest today. She is a mother of three, a wonderful mother of three. She is also the kind and loving wife to Tom and a daughter to Nanay Pising. And she has 4 books, and that's what we will be talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Margie Tayuni Bruce.
Hi, Janet. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
So where are you from in the Philippines? I am curious.
I am from Cebu City.
Okay. So you speak Visayan just like...
Yes, just like you.
Yeah. So how long have you been in America?
I have been here for 27 years.
Oh, that's good. That's a long.
Yeah, long time.
Long time. So where in Wisconsin are you?
I live in Waukesha.
Okay.
just outside Milwaukee.
Okay, that's good. I bought a book from you in 2013. That's like 7 years ago. So I was wondering, when did you start writing? When did you start to be an author?
I started writing when I was really young. I started with poems in English, and then I progressed to writing school plays and oratory speeches, joined writing essay writing contests in high school.
Okay.
Then when I went to college, I published 2 short stories in Philippine magazines and an article, and I contributed to the school paper.
Mm-hmm. So when there are 4 books. So when you try to make a draft for that book, what inspiration you have to write?
I draw inspiration, different inspiration for each piece that I write. Sometimes it's something that, like for example, my first one, my inspiration is my mom. And then the third one, the inspiration was having a cabin up north,
Okay.
which that we visit all the time, and the story came to me, so I wrote it.
Okay.
So just different inspiration that.
I thought they are horror books.
No, they're not.
I'm just kidding. So are we expecting more books to be written by you?
Yes, and I plan to keep writing. Next year I will have a new one coming up, hopefully.
Okay.
I have finished it a while back, but it's been put in the back burner because I started working full-time and I'm looking for publishers. So I think this year will be the year that I will
this year
get.
Yay!
Well, this year will be put together, but then it may be released next year.
Okay. So we have 4 books here in front of us. Can you say something, a description of the books that you have?
Okay. The first one is A String of Pearls. This is the first one that I wrote. It's general fiction. It's a story about 3 generations of Filipino women and their struggles in love and relationship. The second one is Portrait of a Young Woman. It's a Filipino-American love story set during the time of American military presence in the Philippines.
Okay.
The third one is The Heart of Halsey. This is the one that having a cabin up north inspired me to write. This has no Filipino characters, nothing to do with the Philippines. It's all American characters.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Island Lullaby. This is also a Filipino-American love story set in the Philippines. And that is that.
That is very interesting. I have 1 of the 4, so I need to buy 3 to be familiarized with it. I have a saying here, and I want you to comment. What are your thoughts? This is from Dr. Brooklyn Prasad, and she is also a motivational counselor, a speaker, and also an author of 4 books. She said, if you have a dream, don't just sit there. Gather courage to believe that you can succeed and leave no stone unturned to make it a reality.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Okay.
If you have a dream, you can't just sit and do nothing. Otherwise, it's not going to become a reality. So keep working for your dream.
Yeah, that's a good attitude, right?
Yes.
So if your friends, my friends, the viewers are interested to get a copy of your book, can you give us a website or an Amazon?
Absolutely. The website is amazon.com/author/Margie Tayoni.
Oh, that's good. I have to keep that in mind. So can you share with us an inspirational thought for our viewers, for our friends, about anything in life?
It's just to keep dreaming, keep hoping, and never give up. There's nothing worse than giving up. You know, it's worse than failing.
Exactly, exactly. Talk to me.
Yeah.
That's me, 100%. So at Global Inspiration, I am so thankful that you are here today for this interview. You want to say something? You want to add something? No.
No, I just want to thank you for having me, and this is an honor, and more power.
Thank you very much, Margie. Again, at Global Inspiration, You need to be seen, you need to be heard, and be an inspiration to the world. Good day, maraming salamat.
We would like to welcome all of you to Balletner Jewellery. We have a very big selection of 21 karat gold jewelry imported from the Middle East, from Dubai, Saudi, and Bahrain. And we have a very big selection of diamond. We offer free financing for 6 months, and we have a layaway system which you can leave your stuff for 3 months. We repair gold and we buy old gold. Welcome to Balletner Jewellery.
Salamat po!
Afternoon, this is Bridget Carino Quetter bringing you this week's local news from our community. Illinois Secretary of State Jesse White is reminding motorists to drive safely and keep roads and highways clean. Although traffic has decreased due to the pandemic, littering can be a traffic safety issue on our roads, whether it is from a truck whose truckload is uncovered or from a driver who has disposed of garbage out of their car window, said White. We should be mindful of the dangers of littering to others and to our environment, said White. According to the Illinois Litter Control Act, there is a mandatory minimum fine of $50 for any person who is convicted of violating this act and a maximum fine of $1,500 and possible jail time. A second conviction can result in up to 1 year in jail and a maximum fine of $2,500. Unsafe sleep is a leading cause in death of children 1 year old and younger. And while October's Infant Safe Sleep Awareness Month is coming to an end, Illinois DCFS continues to work year-round to remind parents and caregivers of the importance of putting infants to sleep safely. Although the COVID-19 pandemic halted plans for in-person awareness events this year, Illinois DCFS credits a multifaceted awareness campaign and community partnerships that began in 2019 with decreasing the number of unsafe sleep deaths from 143 in 2018 to 108 in 2019. In addition to recording a public service announcement and promoting safe sleep messages across social media, the department collaborated with the Illinois Child Death Review teams to promote the ABCs of safe sleep on billboards in Springfield, Bloomington, and Chicago, with Pace Bus to place our message on 730 buses visible to daily riders across the Chicago suburbs. Infant safe sleep deaths are preventable. And although it is encouraging to see the number of infant deaths due to unsafe sleep decrease from 1 year ago, parents and caregivers must remain vigilant and put their infant to sleep alone, on his or her back, in a safe crib, every time, said Illinois DCFS Acting Director Mark D. Smith. The Lakeview Chamber of Commerce and Special Service Area 27 announces the 2020 holiday program this year with safe, socially distant activities and promotions for all families to enjoy this season. Starting November 16 through the end of December, patrons can enjoy curated gift sets and new holiday events around the Lakeview neighborhood. As many look forward to celebrating the holidays, remaining safe during the pandemic is still a concern. We wanted to bring a holiday season to our neighbors that is still fun for the whole family and keeping magical traditions alive, said Carissa Marconet, Events and Marketing Director of the Lakeview Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is excited to be bringing new events and promotions to our neighborhood that focuses on supporting our local businesses and highlighting what makes our town unique and special to residents. In Georgia, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Indiana, the National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum engaged historically ignored Asian American and Pacific Islander women voters to ensure they had access to the ballot box. Altogether, 90% of the eligible voters through Integrated Voter Engagement Program made the commitment to vote this election season, and those commitments are reflected in the turnout numbers. The political data firm TargetSmart reported on Monday that Asian American voters had already exceeded their total 2016 votes in every single Southern and Sun Belt presidential battleground state. NAPAWF Executive Director Song-yeon Chiramuro issued the following statement. We knew heading into this election that it was going to take longer to count the votes and verify a winner. Every eligible voter should have their voice heard, and we are calling on election officials to count every vote. Illinoisans can shop for health insurance on the Affordable Care Act Health Insurance Marketplace. Open enrollment began Sunday, November 1st and runs through December 15th, 2020. The Illinois Department of Insurance recommends consumers begin their search at getcoveredillinois.gov to find accurate information to help compare health plans, get free enrollment help, and even financial assistance if they qualify. This year, Illinoisans have even more plans to choose from, 179 plans offered by 8 carriers, said IDOI Director Robert Muriel. We want consumers who need health insurance coverage to know that help is available. Last year, more than 240,000 people in our state received premium tax credits to reduce their monthly premium payments. GCI Executive Director Laura Pelican said that according to last year's enrollment numbers, once the tax credit was applied, the average monthly premium payment for Illinois consumers with an individual plan was about $153. That's all for today. Thank you for watching our news this week. This is Bridget. See you next time.
Okay, ready guys? Introducing our new Energy Star certified washer and dryer. Thanks to rebates from ComEd.
Yay! We love rebates! Ay, Daniel, we are famous.
Get used to it. When you use less water and electricity, people notice.
I can get used to that.
So can I.
Take it easy.
Get rebates from ComEd on select Energy Star certified appliances and find even more savings with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program. ComEd, powering lives.
Let's talk about reproductive health. Well, each candidate has very clear policy differences on this issue, and it's on the voters' minds as the Senate moves forward with confirming Supreme Court Justice Pick Amy Coney Barrett. So where does Trump stand? Well, President Trump hopes to make it possible to overturn Roe versus Wade and to do so by appointing Supreme Court justices willing to overturn the court decision. And he has banned the use of Title X family planning funds for clinics that provide abortion services or offer referrals to facilities that do. Title X is a federal grant program for low-income people or for family planning and reproductive health services. It doesn't really say anything about abortion, but technically that's being funded for abortion clinics. Trump has also exempted more employers from the ACA's requirement to offer health insurance plans that include no-cost contraceptive coverage. Trump has removed anti-discrimination protections in healthcare for LGBTQ and the patients and those who have terminated a pregnancy. So people who are seeking abortion and who have had an abortion might not be protected if they're discriminated against healthcare providers. He's adding new payment requirements, however, for those who enroll in an ACA marketplace that includes coverage for abortion. And he supports the Hyde Amendment, which prohibits federal funding for abortion except in terms of rape, incest, or life endangerment. Just so for some people would know, actually abortion is happening even at the time that the patient is due to give birth. Even given at birth, they would still do the abortion. So that's pretty hurtful. I know it says in terms of rape, incest, or life endangerment, but I think they go more than that when it covers abortion. So where does Biden stand? Biden supports the repeal of the Hyde Amendment from congressional appropriation bills. He supports Roe versus Wade, and he's pledged to reverse the Trump administration's Title X rule. He wants to bar states from refusing Medicaid payments to reimburse Planned Parenthood and other providers for family planning services. Biden aims to ensure that people with employer-sponsored health insurance have access to no-cost contraceptive coverage, and he wants to reverse policies that permit discrimination of LGBTQ patients seeking health care. We can expect that President Biden would seek to expand reproductive choices, options, and services rather than constrict them. Mental health. Both Biden and Trump agree that mental health for veterans needs attention, and Trump created a task force to focus on suicide prevention for veterans and proposed more VA funding for suicide prevention. And Biden has proposed expanding and strengthening of mental health programs inside and outside the VA. Both candidates have also focused on the opioid epidemic, with Trump declaring that it is a national public health emergency since 2017. But from there, the two candidates diverge. So where does Trump stand with that? Trump stands behind repealing the ACA, which would result in a reduction in coverage for mental health services for people enrolled in marketplace plans. If the ACA is overturned, mental illnesses could become one of the most pre-existing conditions in America, meaning people might be denied coverage from private insurance plans because of it, or offered insurances without coverage for mental health treatment. Trump's proposed 2021 budget also shrinks total funding for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration and to Medicaid, which is the largest payer for mental health services in the United States. I'm sorry about that. Where Biden stands. Well, Biden supports enforcing existing mental health parity laws and expanding funding for mental health, as well as raising the bar for mental health coverage, including rehabilitative services. His education plan promises to double the number of psychologists, guidance counselors, nurses, social workers, and other health plan professionals in schools. And he proposed increased funding for the National Health Services Corporation. It is a federal program that pays school loans for primary healthcare workers and awards scholarships for students training to become healthcare workers. Biden also wants to develop partnerships among high schools, community colleges, and health centers to inspire youth to pursue jobs in healthcare. Healthcare equality. Healthcare equality refers to the ability of all people to access equitable treatment at healthcare facilities, free of discrimination and with inclusive patient services. The Human Rights Campaign, for instance, publishes a healthcare equality index that promotes equitable and inclusive care for LGBTQ and their families. Where does Trump stand? Well, in October, he unveiled a platinum plan that promises to deliver, among other things, better and cheaper healthcare to Black Americans, including investments into the causes and cures of kidney disease, high blood disease, pressure, sickle cells, maternal mortality, and other diseases and conditions that disproportionately affect the Black community. The Trump administration also finalized a rule in June that would remove non-discrimination protection for LGBTQ people regarding healthcare and health insurance. Where does Biden stand? Well, Biden pledges to expand access to quality healthcare to LGBTQ individuals and specifically to reverse Trump administration policies that permit discrimination to them. Biden's proposed public option would offer health coverage for the 16% of Black Americans who make too much for Medicaid but not enough for tax credits and to help them pay for health coverage. Okay, guys, so I think I have sort of divided or gave you what one stands versus the other. I think bottom line is when you choose somebody, you got to think of the future. When you choose somebody, you got to think of the 4 years moving forward. When you choose somebody, you got to stick to what they stand for and what they believe in rather than who they are. I know it's really hard at this point between the two candidates. Who to choose between their characters, but that me personally being said that, I would choose someone who is going for more of what I believe in and my values and all of those things. It doesn't help much, but it has caused a lot of division amongst family members, amongst the society. It's just amongst everything. There's a lot of discrimination against that. So guys, I really hope you are going to vote for November 3rd and you make an informed decision when you do so. Thank you again. This is Melody Dizon, your Health Matters host. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat.
And now we come to the portion of the show that is very, very happy. Wishing everybody happy birthday. This is the portion that really excites me every week. Greeting everybody, people that I know, my friends, and somebody that I know. But again, happy birthday to the celebrant this week. And all of us at Cprtv wish all celebrants a day filled with good fortune, happiness, and everlasting joy free of COVID-19. Again, here are the following birthday celebrants. Ramon Ribay, hi bro. Lourdes Disperos, he's from California. J.R. Olivares, Torija. Tessie Leonardo and Kathleen Taylor, happy birthday to you all. But there's also a portion that's kind of saddened me because it's a heartfelt. We would like to convey our heartfelt condolences and prayers for the passing of the following people. Of course, we know Prince Charles of Great Britain, of England, Maria Luisa Flores, and a good community leader and a friend, Delphin Masangkay. We will miss you. Okay, again, this is Joe Mauricio wishing everybody a happy November and happy election. I hope your candidate won. Again, this is Joe Mauricio. Hope to see you again next week, and I wish you all mabuhay.